Ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba-da. Week 5 in the National Football League featuring World of Matchups. Las Vegas, Nevada. I am your host, Dexter Reed. On the other side of the glass, my A1 from day one and producer of WOM, Mr. Spencer the Wiz, here to break down Week 5's slate. Morning, sir. How are you today?
I'm good. Yeah. Excited for another week of football. Very, very chaotic week in our NFL season in general. It's really hard to tell. I mean, is there a team that needs a bye week more than the Green Bay Packers right now? After watching what they just did, Chicago's also on bye week. Atlanta, Pittsburgh, but Green Bay, man, I have no idea what to think of them now. And even when they come back from the bye week, you have a dominant week 1 victory. And then it's kind of fallen apart for him. So we'll see if these other teams kind of fall in line or kind of continue to change the trend. It'll be very interesting to see.
Bottom line is there's the Eagles and everyone else, man. And until further notice, that's
I
how
know.
it's going to be. But there's plenty of time for other teams to get back in the hunt. There's a lot of teams that are still right there. Let's break it down. Who's first?
All right. Let's go to the other international game. It's that they're playing in Tottenham. I actually hate Tottenham. I'm an Arsenal fan, so that'd be cool if they played there. But it is the Minnesota Vikings. They're playing the Cleveland Browns. Such a weird game to call because obviously the Cleveland Browns are traveling out there and the Vikings stayed. I mean, not stayed, but it's a very short trip. I mean, it would be, they travel less to go to NFL games from week to week for what they did. It's just right over the water. The Vikings are -3.5. It's such a tough game to call, honestly. It's like a coin flip. I would never touch this game with my money because you have the Browns who are starting Dylan Gabriel, so that's just a whole like wrench in the situation. And then you have the Browns traveling super far, right? It's like it is not easy. Then they just played, they're not coming off a bye week or anything like that. I'm going to take the Minnesota Vikings just because Dylan Gabriel's playing. The Browns are such a horrible organization. Why is this the game that you like? Okay, now Dylan Gabriel's going to come in. Go travel internationally, bud. And I mean, it drums up interest for the game, obviously. I know the NFL loves it. And then you have Shador Sanders, who's like being a little sour grape and just being kind of weird about everything because he's still the third stringer, which is really funny to me. The NFL just hates him. I mean, let's be honest. They just don't want him to play. And he's getting buried right now. But I mean, I'm going to take it just because the Vikings defense, I think, will be good enough. I mean, I don't really feel confident. Can the Browns even win this game by a field goal? Probably, but I'll take the quote-unquote rested Vikings with a little bit more continuity than the Cleveland Browns, like, who I don't know if I've ever played an international game. Don't quote me on that. I mean, I don't normally see them play out there. Maybe they did one year against the Jags, but in any case, it's just such a weird and tough thing to ask somebody to go from Sunday to Sunday across the world, and then the Vikings are already out there for a long time and they're settled in. So 3.5, sure.
I'm going to take the Minnesota Vikings for all the same reasons that you mentioned. I think it took too long for Kevin Stefanski to bench Joe Flacco. I mean, he was an unmitigated disaster. He's truly showing his age. He's a statue. I mean, it's over, man. You know what I mean? Release this cat, let him retire with grace and dignity. He's just no longer good. He's there to just tutor the young kids. So in comes Dylan Gabriel, Oregon products, who, I'm an Oregon Duck fan, so I've seen him play a lot. I'm surprised he's in the NFL, to be perfectly honest with you. I have to be honest. So we'll see what happens there. Traveling across the world. I mean, no Cedric Tillman. He's on IR. David Njoku, Harold Fannin haven't done anything in weeks. Jerry Jeudy, same thing. I mean, Quinton Judkins is a rookie. I mean, Myles Garrett's got a beat up body. I mean, you got a lot of different problems here for the Browns. Besides the fact that they just stink. Okay, if I'm gonna bet the Browns at any point, they're gonna have to be in their own building. I think Brian Flores has literally come up with a defensive game plan where he's just gonna throw the kitchen sink at Dylan Gabriel a couple different ways, and he's not gonna be sure what to do. This is his first NFL start. It happens to be across the world versus a team with a great defense and a great defensive coordinator. I think Carson Wentz, Jordan Mason, Jay Jettas, Jordan Addison, all those guys. I think Jordan Addison might be back for this game. Jalen Naylor. I mean, they got guys, man. They got TJ Hawkinson. They have good players, man. Kevin O'Connell's a great head coach. There's really no excuse here for the Minnesota Vikings to go overseas and lose both those games. And I think they could cover this 3.5, dude. The Browns are not a good team, man. They're just not. And I'm not a believer in Dylan Gabriel. I'm just not. And as far as Shedeur Sanders is concerned, dude, just wait your turn because it's coming. I'm a firm believer that Shedeur Sanders may start 4 or 5 games this year. The NFL hates him because they hate Dion, they hate the confidence, they hate the arrogance, they hate the swag, they hate the bravado. They hate the fact that they tried to humble this guy through the draft. It clearly hasn't worked. They're going to make him fight for every minute of playing time that he gets. But when he gets it, I think Shedeur Sanders might be better than any Cleveland starting quarterback you see this year. But the bottom line is that this is a horrendous spot for them to try to win. Take the Vikings minus 3.5. I'm not taking them with any major level of confidence, but we got to choose somebody here, so I'm going to pull and pray on the Vikes here.
All right, let's make our way to the morning slate. It's the Dallas Cowboys. They're visiting the New York Jets. Yeah, the Jets just can't they can't get anything going no matter what they do, it seems. And a couple, it's like always like an exciting fourth quarter for them, but there's 3 other quarters that you gotta play better in order to even have a chance. It's hard not to take the Dallas Cowboys here. I mean, that's what I'm gonna do. It doesn't feel great because it feels like almost like a trap game, which sounds dumb for 2 teams that have bad records, but the Jets are not going to go winless this year, obviously. So it's like a spring trap, and you're waiting to know when it's going to explode. I mean, the Dallas Cowboys just continue to impress. I think that's the only way to put it. I don't know if it's more of like the Packers just not being as good as we really wanted them to be, because I say that like that game was crazy against the Packers, but I mean, they did that without Pickens. I'm sorry, CeeDee Lamb. Yeah, they did that without CeeDee Lamb. But it's kind of like they're going back to the way it was. Pickens just becomes their number one. And, last year they didn't have Pickens. And so, I don't know. I that's what it seemed. I mean, everyone in their world thought they would struggle mightily without CeeDee Lamb. And they just put 40 points on them. So the Green Bay Packers really just that bad? Because, again, they lost that game to the Browns, too. I guess we'll have to see. But one thing is clear. The Dallas Cowboys can score points. I mean, Dak Prescott, he's a lot better, I think, than most people want to give him.
He's having an MVP type season.
It's not going to matter because they're not going to get to 8 wins, but he is. Like, his performance level, he's like one of the most important players for a player on their football team in the National Football League. So I think that they'll just be able to score enough. And I think that's been the Jets' problem. They score 10 points, and then they try to make up for it in the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
that's not really that's not how the NFL works, in my opinion. I mean, I don't know. I know this game could flip either way, but if I only need Dallas to win by a field goal, I feel like they're going to score 30 points in this game. And I know the Jets did that in week 1, and it'll be a shootout. The over-under is 48.5. So obviously they also believe that. I almost like to tease the over in this one. You get like over 42. I think that's a bit of a lock. That'll definitely be on my teaser card this week. And maybe I'll tease the Dallas Cowboys too. I can't imagine the Jets just blow them out. I mean, I don't think they have the capability to, because they just haven't been able to put together a performance that dictates something like that. I like the Dallas Cowboys here minus 1.5.
So do I, man. I don't think the Jets could blow anybody out in the NFL right now, quite frankly. I've taken the Jets versus the Bills at home with a lot of confidence for the upset. They crapped the bed. Then I took them last week versus Miami in a winnable game on the road, and they looked not great there either. I can't, in my right mind, now take them. Dallas has gone to the, MetLife before and lost, several years ago in a different era with different Jet and Cowboy teams. But, things are different right now, man. And I'm not a big believer in Justin Fields here. He's looked okay, but you take Garrett Wilson out of this game at any point, how are the Jets going to score, man? Braylon Allen tears up his knee. He's out for 8 to 12 weeks. I mean, there's some banged up guys on both sides, Jermaine Johnson, Cavante Turpin, but I think the straw that stirs the drink for the Cowboys is going to be their running back, Javonte Williams, who is quietly having a nice season and not really getting a whole lot of shine. I thought his career was on the downside of being almost over, and he's had a nice little renaissance. And if you can run the ball, man, then you open up the pass. Pickens, really, really good. Ferguson, always open. Spot, start here, spot start there for a couple other guys. They don't really need Lamb. Then let that ankle heal for another 2 weeks, and then bring him back. I mean, it's kind of crazy to say, but like outside of that poor performance in Chicago, Dallas really hasn't looked that bad. Dallas should have won last week. The Packers may have peaked too early. I mean, their defense is. There's a couple teams like the Packers and the Ravens. Everyone thought was going to have these amazing defenses. These defenses have been shredded, like Swiss cheese. Not good at all. And so your saving grace for the Jets here is going to have to give Breece Hall the ball 25 times because there's really nobody behind him. I don't believe in Isaiah Davis at all, and they don't have much else. So Dak's going to sling it all over the field. I think the Cowboys could score 30 with ease. I'm not sure that the Jets could score 20. And so to me, that sounds like a resounding Dallas win, -1.5 on the road in MetLife Stadium. Yeah, the Jet fans will be there, but I mean, what do they have to root for, man? You're 0-4. You're going nowhere. Aaron Glenn is over his head. I mean, I do like the guy, but he's more of a player's coach than a disciplinarian and an X's and O's guy. I don't know, man. I think the Jets are doomed here for a really bad season. This is not one of the games I think they can win simply because Dallas can score. Take the Cowboys -1.5 with a decent amount of confidence.
All right, let's make our way over to a really interesting game. Surprised it's kind of like a sneaky morning game that you don't really see too often. It's the Denver Broncos. They're going to Philadelphia to play the Eagles. Yeah, and the Eagles are -4.5. I don't know. What can you say about the Eagles? It's just crazy. They'll beat you any way that they need to. And that was one thing that I think made the Chiefs so dominant during that run where they did. It's like they didn't even play that particularly well. And then you look up and they won by like 10 points. It's crazy how they can do that. It just comes in any which way. Dallas Goedert suddenly has a massive game last week, and most weeks he's quiet. I'm sure this week it'll be like Devontae Smith. He'll have like 120 yards or something, And I think to a lesser extent, and last week doesn't really count for the Denver Broncos where they played a garbage Bengals team. Their defense hasn't been that good this year. Not like we wanted it to. Pat Surtain and Jahdae Barron have not been the Legion of Boom that everyone kind of hyped them up to be. So we'll have to see if that continues. I know last week was a big confidence builder, but I don't know, man. It's just like, to me, it doesn't really add anything in the bucket for a plus towards the Denver Broncos, because outside of that, Bo Nix has really struggled this year, like mightily. And the Eagles are at home. We've seen what they've done on special teams this year. It's like a part of their game. And again, I talked about this last week. Special teams, again, I've just never seen. This is the year of special teams.
Mm-hmm.
Block punts, kickoff returns, block field goals, like everything. And the Eagles seem to just be like at the forefront of it somehow. So I guess I'm going to take the Eagles this week. I could see Bo Nix having a stinker. Like I think I'm not going to say he's due because he's already kind of had some. He had his best week last week. This is not the Cincinnati Bengals. This is the Philadelphia Eagles. And I think they're going to get to him. And I think when the pressure gets to him, I think it could be pretty rough. The over-under in this game is 44.5. Again, I kind of would like to tease the over in this because I do think there's going to be points available. Because the Eagles certainly have, when they get a lead, they kind of turn the spigot on a little bit and they let the other team score. Like that seems to be a very common thing for them. I could see a lot of, I'm not going to call it garbage time. I don't think there's any way the Eagles just blow them out, but I think if they're up by 14, they'll let them dink and dunk and go on an 8-minute drive and score a touchdown. And that's a position that the Eagles are fine with, because if they get the ball with like 4 minutes left, in their minds, the game's over because they're just going to pick up a few first down. That's what they do. They just like They don't try to no trick plays, not a lot of them. Although they've had some amazing plays out of the tush push. Like it's a whole formation for them now, and there's a whole package. It's just crazy to see it evolved. I think it's one of the most fun developments over the season. Last week they pulled out 2. I mean, who knows how many more they have? I mean, they have to have a bunch. I'm telling you, soon it'll be a new formation in the NFL, which is amazing. I don't think we'll see any in this game, but I just wanted to point that out. Yeah, I like the Philadelphia Eagles -4.5 here.
Anytime I see a weird number like this, it worries me. I've been one of the people that have been telling you guys to bet on the Eagles no matter what. And I've been hitting the Eagles every single week, man. You know, now Spencer's on the train, and this is where I'm going to hop off. It's just so weird how this happens, man. I don't know. I have a bad feeling about this game. I don't know why. I think it's because the Broncos are kind of like the junior varsity version of the Eagles. They really are. Good defense, can run the football, decent special teams, if not better than average advertised special teams, and a quarterback that you really don't ask to do that much. Factor in he could be a Hall of Fame, head coach on both sides. Still a lot of football to be played for both of them, but both of them have rings, and there you go. I mean, maybe the Eagles have the home field advantage and they have the better wide receivers, but there's quietly some dissension going on in Philadelphia right now, man, and no one wants to talk about it because they're 4-0. A.J. Brown's not happy. Devonta Smith's not happy either, and they're public about it. And so now I could see a situation where, yeah, Barron, you know what I mean, and that no-fly zone that hasn't been that good is good here because they're going to try to force-feed these wide receivers. And they know it. And Denver can slow that run down, man. Saquon Barkley has not been that great this year. I told you that there was going to be some negative regression coming for him because anytime you have that all-world kind of season, you just cannot replicate it. I think this is where Surtain gets a little bit healthy on these guys. Him versus A.J. Brown is going to be must-see TV for sure. I think Denver can keep this game close, man. They're one of the better defenses in the NFL, and I know the Eagles are great. That 4.5 is a weird number, man. You know what I mean? It's just a weird number. J.K. Dobbins and R.J. Harvey have been very good. If you can run the ball and you can keep that offense on the other side of the field, you can win this game. Now, I'm not saying they're going to win this game, but I think they can cover the 4.5. Bo Nix had his best game of the year, and now you're going into Philadelphia with a decent level of confidence, which is what you have to do. If they would have lost last week, I'd be taking the Eagles. But they're feeling pretty good about getting back on the horse. They're hanging around the AFC West, Denver's a very good team, man. I don't care what anyone says. Courtland Sutton's the most underrated wide receiver in all of football. And if you get anything out of Mims, man, anything, if Mims just doesn't drop the ball or he gives you a special teams play, Denver's covering this game. I like Denver plus 4.5. I can't even believe I'm saying it because I've been riding with the Eagles harder than anybody. But this is the week that I come off. I don't think Denver can win the game, but I do absolutely think that they could cover 4.5.
All right, let's jump over to a pretty weird, pretty gross game. It's the Baltimore Ravens. They're hosting the Houston Texans, and the Texans are -1.5. The mighty have fallen. Imagine a couple years ago, you said the line for a Lamar Jackson-less Baltimore Ravens would be -1.5 for the Texans. That seems like an easy pick, and I know the Ravens aren't even that good at home. I'm gonna take the Ravens here. I just don't think the Texans are good. I honestly, my most disappointing game last week was the Tennessee Titans playing the Houston Texans, because I felt that they should have been in that game and they didn't even score. And that was just embarrassing. But this is when everyone is off the Baltimore Ravens forever and no one's going to ever pick them ever again. And I think this is when they have their best game of the season. Lamar Jackson's out. It seems like the team is over. It just seems like the hallmark game for the Baltimore Ravens to somehow put it together more than they have with Lamar Jackson. And it's going to be like a rallying cry for them. And here's the thing, and we've talked about this, the Texans just don't, their lack of an offensive line is going to ruin their season. And these are two desperate teams. You're 1-3. Both of these teams want to make the playoffs. This is going to knock someone out of the playoffs. When you go to 1-4, it's done. I mean, you can argue that you're already done at 1-3, but at the very least in the locker room of these NFL teams, they don't believe that. And so you got to win this game. And I just think that the Baltimore Ravens have too much pressure on them not to find a dumb way to win this game by 2 points. It's going to be something silly. You know, their defense is going to make one play finally, because again, their defense has been like, you could argue the worst in the National Football League. I'm not kidding when I say that. They've been shredded every week. I mean, they must allow the most points per week. It just, every single game has been insane for them. The Lions, the Chiefs, like, dude, they have literally given up like over 30 points, like almost every game this season, which is crazy, absolutely insane. And like I said, I don't even like the Ravens anymore because obviously they've been terrible, but I just don't like the Texans. And I think that everyone's going to be on them, and everyone's going to see it as an easy line. And I think this is when the Ravens put it together in a way that, like, the headlines, Lamar Jackson's like, okay, he's going to have some sort of weird philosophical answer, like, seeing how hard the team plays without him, something stupid like that. That's how I can see it happening. So I'm going to take the Ravens in this one.
This is going to be one of two victory laps I'm going to take on this show. The first one being on the Ravens and how I've told you guys repeatedly for years, and I doubled down, tripled down, quadrupled down on it last week versus Kansas City. Lamar's not a winner, man. He's just not, man. I'm going to keep saying it because I know it ruffles feathers, man, and I don't care. You guys could be mad at me all you want. His body language on the sideline last week tells you everything you need to know about how he deals with adversity, man. Steve Spagnuolo put that boy in a blender. Now he's hurt, and now he's out. Okay, so Ravens are in trouble, and I'm willing to give the Ravens the benefit of the doubt. I'll do something that you guys don't do for my team, and I'll give you the benefit of the doubt because they're heavily injured. No one cares when my team is heavily injured, but they're heavily injured, so I'll throw you guys a cookie, okay? They were playing versus a lot of guys who were not starters. A lot of guys are out. They're banged up everywhere. Kyle Van Noy's out. I mean, they're in bad shape. And I'm going to go on record again as saying I picked the Ravens to go to the Super Bowl this year and win it. I don't know how I feel about that anymore now that Lamar is out. If Lamar's playing this game, I'd still have a little bit of hope. But do I have any kind of confidence in Cooper Rush coming in? I mean, what are the Ravens going to do here? Okay, I get their home, right? But outside of giving the ball to Derrick Henry 50 times, how are they going to win this game? I don't see a world where Cooper Rush can beat a decent defense anywhere. And the Houston Texans are decent, man. And they're coming off a shutout, and they are saving their season. Last week was a big-time game for them versus a really bad Tennessee team that could do absolutely nothing. But still, you're coming off a shutout and now going into a hostile environment. That's the way you want to do it. And the Ravens, they don't rush for and get to the quarterback. They just don't. And so even with a bad offensive line, I think C.J. Stroud and Woody Marks and Nico Collins and Dalton Schultz will be able to eat here. A field goal will win you money. A two-pointer will win you money. And so I'm taking the Texans here. I'm not taking them with a lot of confidence. I think the Ravens just have too many problems right now, man. They are literally imploding. I mean, I never thought I'd be able to see the Ravens at 1-3. So I could definitely see them at 1-4. What's the difference? You know what I mean? There is no difference. And Nico Collins has not had a blow-up game yet. I think it's coming here, man. I could see a big 150-yard, two-tutty game from Nico Collins. And like I said, man, Woody Marks is going to be this year's come-out-of-nowhere player. You look at what this guy did in college, man. Woody Marks caught like 80 balls in one season in college. He is going to be what everyone thought Joe Mixon was going to be this year. He's going to be able to run the ball on the Ravens. Why? Because everyone has run the ball on the Ravens this year. They have been an unmitigated disaster and a disappointment. And I don't care about them being at home, man. They're still banged up. Without their leader, they're not the same team. And I'm tripling, quadrupling, whatever you want to say. I'm just going to continue to bet against them until I see a big game out of Lamar. And who knows when you'll see Lamar again, man. This could be a lost season. This is like my fantasy football team, the Ravens. They just have everything they're supposed to have. They have everything they need, and no matter what, they can't win. They can't win. They just don't look good. They underachieve. And I'm taking the Texans here. I'm taking the Texans here with confidence, man. These are two teams going the wrong way, and I'm telling you, X factor here could be Woody Marks. Not a lot of people know about this guy. Guys, go do some recon on this dude. He's a baller. You saw a little bit of it last week, and they're going to try to push the envelope for him again this week. And if he can run the ball, Nico's going to eat. CJ Stroud, don't turn the ball over. Texans minus 1.5 is a play.
All right, let's switch over. It's the well, I think this game's going to be kind of interesting in a weird way. It's the New York Giants. They're going to New Orleans to play the Saints, and the Saints are minus 2.5 at home. A really crazy game last week, man. They unleashed the Scatterboo, they unleashed Dart, and they looked great. Now, Malik Neighbors tore his ACL, and so it's almost like their season started over because now they're like Theo Johnson's involved and Scatterboo and Dart. It's like these guys weren't even playing at the beginning of the year, and so it's like hard to evaluate them in a sense. At the same time, like the Saints looked pretty good against the Bills. Like that was their most well put together game. And it's just like, sometimes you just play a team that's one of the best in the NFL. And I think that's what happened to them. That was, and you know, I feel like the final score was not indicative of how close that game actually was. That's just Josh Allen being absolutely bananas. I mean, I think that's what it comes down to.
The Bills had to work last week to win that game.
Hard. I want to take the Giants here, and I think most of the world will because like they just beat the Chargers. Now they're going to lose to the Saints. Honestly, I think they will. I think there's like the Saints are not going to go winless this season, and they had that terrible game, against the Seahawks, and they could do that any week, I guess, but their offense is starting to look pretty well put together. I think you have to give Kellen Moore a bit of credit. And I don't think there's not even really any pressure for a quarterback change there. It's not like Rattler, he had his best game of the season last week. I could kind of see that continue. And I know they play really well at home. I don't love this one because, again, I just think the obvious answer is to take the Giants. But I think there was just some special juice in the air last week when you have a new quarterback. And not to say that Dart will play bad in this game, but I just think the Saints want this so badly, and I think that I'm going to be a bit of a contrarian here. It's like they're begging you to take the Giants. It seems like such an easy pick, and I think that's when the Saints like actually put it together. I know I said that against the Seahawks, and that's like I'm having flashbacks to that. But at some point, if they keep playing like that, they're going to win. That's like it's going to happen, and they did it in Buffalo too, which I think makes it even that much more impressive last week. So I'm going to take the Saints here. I actually think they have a pretty decent chance of getting their first win of the season.
I'm going to take the Saints too, man. Guys, the Saints aren't going to go 0-17. And the Saints will play hard for their fans. Their fans love their Saints, man. I've been down there a couple times, and I just can't see the Giants putting together back-to-back good weeks, especially now with the absence of Malik Neighbors for the year, which is, really, truly a tragedy. And I just got to go on record as saying, man, can we get this turf off this field, man? I mean, how many players have to lose their livelihood here? How many players have to come back from ACL reconstructive surgery? How many players just play on grass? I just don't get it, man. What's it going to take? That MetLife turf has claimed more bodies than Omar from The Wire. Enough already. Look, Alvin Kamara is going to do enough. Spencer Rattler will do enough. And the youth movement that is New York right now is not going to continue to play as hard as they did to beat the Saints in this game. Home teams play harder. And these are probably two evenly matched teams. They both stink. But, I mean, if you just take Neighbors off the field, what wide receivers are catching the football in New York, man? And I know Jackson Dart's a baller, but the Saints are a good defense. I know the Chargers for me last week was more about what the Chargers didn't do versus what the Giants did. The Chargers just didn't play well enough, man. Herbert threw a bunch of balls he shouldn't have thrown. I don't know. I'm going to take the Saints here. I'm not going to take them with a whole lot of confidence because both these teams are bad. But when I have two bad teams and a field goal wins you money, I'm going to take the home team. I can see Jawan Johnson doing something here. I mean, Foster Moreau's back. Isn't that other bum quarterback who's a million years old, that 10-trick pony, I forget his name. They got a bunch of guys. Chris Olave can do some work here, but I think Kamara will run the ball enough. I mean, the Giant defensive front, yeah, they're pretty good, man, but how are they going to score? How are the Giants going to score in this game? And here's the thing about Scatterboo. He's like Mike Allstott, man. You're looking to run into a wall every time you get the ball. You're going to get hurt, man. You're going to get hurt. I get you want to, make a statement and let guys know you've arrived, but can you try to juke a guy maybe? I don't know, man. Running into these guys consistently, you're gonna get killed, man. And I get the fans love it in New York and all that, but it doesn't lend to a long-term contract or a long-term career. I'm taking the Saints -2.5, man. Good luck with it.
All right, let's go to the game that's going to cause me a lot of mental and physical pain. It's the Las Vegas Raiders. They're traveling to Indianapolis. The Colts are -6.5. I'm going to take the Colts -6.5. I'm going to say a couple things. The one thing that I think no Raider fan wants to admit, and again, I personally believe the Raiders have one of the worst fan bases in the National Football League. The reactionaries. They want to fire everybody every week, which I think is terrible. It's what's caused a lot of turmoil in the franchise because there's no consistency. The reality of the Raiders is that they're a much better football team this year than they were last year, despite being 1-3. There's a lot of things that happen over the course of a game in a season that cause you to have a certain record. I talked about this last week, and I talked about it on the radio show that I do on Sundays. I said, can the Raiders special teams not lose them the game? And the answer to that question last week was no. Again, 2 weeks where special teams have literally ruined the week. It's the difference between the Raiders being a little bit above 500 and being below. And obviously, the elephant in the room is Geno Smith has been the worst quarterback in the National Football League.
He's been so bad. He's been so bad.
You just rarely see 3 interception games from a starting quarterback in football. There's a difference between 3 interceptions and not being able to score. And it's just insane. It's I think we could see Kenny Pickett this year. But outside of that, the Raiders defense has been awesome this year. I'll go as far as to say awesome. You had 3 interceptions. You give up in your own territory, and the defense gave up 9 points. Yeah, they gave up the game-winning touchdown, but how much are you going to, what is this, the 95 Bears or something like that? This team has held together considering the roster that it has defensively, which is so weak, man. Patrick Graham is one of the best defensive coordinators in the NFL. I mean, it's like, when they went to the moon and they had to find a way to make bubble gum and plastic work, I'm trying to remember that scene where they have nothing and they have to figure out a way to make these guys breathe in space. I mean, that's what he does with this defense. He just finds a way for them to make plays. And Max Crosby finally had a good game, because one thing also that no one Raider Nation wants to admit, Max Crosby hasn't looked that good. I go as far as to say that in a year and a quarter. And this was the first time where you felt his presence. I love Max Crosby, obviously. I have his jersey, and he loves the Raiders. I'm not trying to say that, but he hasn't been a game wrecker. Like when Khalil Mack had his Defensive Player of the Year, dude, he was winning them games. He had that pick 6 against the Carolina Panthers that year and literally sealed it. And then, I'm only making that parallel, obviously, because Max Crosby had his first interception, but it's just that you felt him, not like one of those tackle for losses. He's obviously very good at that. Just one of those game wrecker kind of things. You want to know that he's there and that he can win you the game, right? That's what the best pass rushers in the league do. Not every week. It's impossible because, again, they can't affect the game like a quarterback, but that felt like a real Max Crosby type of performance last week. And the defense was awesome. I mean, if you don't throw 3 interceptions and you don't have a blocked field goal, the Raiders win that game. And we all have a different opinion, right? Oh, we need to fire Chip Kelly. The offense has been fine. I mean, all things considered, they really did some great things. And obviously Ashton Tenty, man, he's insane. I mean, he's really, you saw how special, like these people who said he's going to be a bust, they're such losers. His contact balance is like probably the best in the NFL. His contact balance reminds me of, Derrick Henry, but he has like the build of Maurice Jones-Drew. I mean, what an insane combo. He obviously went nuclear last week, and I think that'll only continue. Jackson Powers-Johnson was back. That was just a huge buff for them. And it's just, they're running into the Colts, who 2 years in a row lose a game because a guy fumbles the ball before he touches the end zone. Jonathan Taylor did it last year, and then it happened again. Dude, if I were them, I would beat him with a sock full of soap, like in the locker room after the game. I'd jump him like Full Metal Jacket style. How do you let that happen? And I know like you get excited and you're in the crowd, but they're going to be so feral in this game because they know in every conceivable way they should have won against the Rams last week. And so who's to say that Geno won't have 2 interceptions again? What's stopping him? Because they've all been terrible interceptions, and he's lost them games. Geno's been terrible. Special teams on every front, kickoff return coverage, field goals, punting. It's all been absolutely garbage. And it's everything else has been really good. I mean, last week you saw it. The run game was great. The defense looked really good. Geno just lost in the game. And then the special teams like puts the nail in the coffin. And so those two things together are going to kill you. But like I said, I like what I've seen from the Raiders this year. Outside of that, those are, I'm not going to say easy things to shore up. Special teams, I feel like you got to, I mean, I know I just talked about how you don't want to fire every coach. You can't go into the next season with the special teams coach that we have. I mean, literally the worst special teams unit in the league, I think, in every conceivable way from a coaching standpoint. And so, like I said, I think the Colts are just they're going to tear Geno apart. Who's to say that he won't do that again? I haven't seen anything that'll say otherwise. He's been garbage. He's been losing them games. He's going to lose this game for them too. And the Colts they're going to want this one. They're running into a meat grinder with the Colts this week. There's no way. I think I would take the Colts against just about anybody not named the Buffalo Bills this week because I think they're going to kill them.
Colts had a chance to win that game last week. They were in it to the very end.
In every way.
They're in it to the very end, and so they're going to come home and they're going to be ready to roll, man. I don't think Vegas is a particularly good team at all, man. I mean, they've had flashes where they look better. Yeah, Max gets his first pick. I mean, some nice things have happened. AJ gets his 3-tutty game, but, like, they don't put it all together at all. You know what I mean? They just have nice showings. Geno might have a 3-touchdown game here or there, but he's been horrible, man. He's been the worst quarterback in the National Football League. And they're just running into the wrong team, man. Jonathan Taylor should run all over this Vegas defense. And they're going to stack the box against AJ and dare Geno to throw. And when Geno continues to chuck it up there, he throws picks. This is a bad spot, man. I like the Colts a lot here. Touchdown wins you money. Michael Mayer's out. And let's be honest, man. Brock Bowers, they need to stop playing with him and just put him on IR already and let him heal before you really get him hurt. Worse than he's already hurt now. I mean, enough is enough. Guys, you're going to finish dead last in the AFC West. It's going to be the same old Raiders. You're going to win 7 games, and then you're never going to get better because you won't be bad enough to get better picks. This has been the story of the Las Vegas Raiders since I have watched football, since they went to the Super Bowl with Rich Gannon. They're always just good enough to not get better players. Just suck. Because this team ain't very good, man. Dante Thornton has been nothing. That was almost a waste of a draft pick. Your secondary is absolutely horrendous. I mean, what are you hanging your hat on here? I mean, you can't beat the Chicago Bears at home. Come on, man. That's bad. And like I said last week, they just don't play well at Allegiant Stadium. They just don't. If the Raiders win this game, I'll have a different tune next week. But until I see them do something of substance anywhere, I can't take them here. I mean, week 1 seems like forever ago. And to me, they won that game not because they won it, but it was more about what the Patriots didn't do. They could easily be an 0-4 team just like the Jets. Take the Colts with confidence here, minus a 6.5.
All right, let's hop over. It's the Miami Dolphins. They're traveling to Carolina, and the Dolphins are -1.5. I like Miami in this one. Miami's offense has figured it out, which I thought they would, and I think Tyreek Hill being gone is better for them. If we're all being honest, I mean, absolute just chaos, as he leaves the field happy, and it's just like shows you every reason why having these crazy wide receivers is never worth it. We saw it with Antonio Brown. These guys are just wackos, man. They're just insane. And they're talented, but they're bad for the football team. And I think they're just going to run so much better without him. It's like Jalen Waddle's now the number one wide receiver, and they can just continue with that. Darren Waller has like the game of his life, obviously, in the red zone. And I just think that the Miami Dolphins are going to score 27 points in this game. Can the Carolina Panthers physically score 27 points? I don't think so. I mean, they are the most disappointing team, I think, of the 2025 season. Not that you or I thought they were going to make the playoffs or like have 8 or 9 wins. They haven't been competitive. Like they had that game, against the Falcons.
One game. That was it.
Where the Falcons just embarrassed themselves. And those kinds of games happens every week, I don't get gaslit by those kinds of dumb games because the Falcons just didn't show up to play that week. The normal Carolina Panthers that we've seen on a week-to-week basis are nothing. I mean, they're total nothing burgers. So I think the Miami Dolphins are going to score a lot in this game. The Carolina defense doesn't scare me like at all. Not to say that the Miami Dolphins are some sort of like amazing team and they're going to start going on a run or anything, but this is two bad football teams that are playing each other. And I just think Miami Dolphins are going to be able to score 24, 27, and what the Carolina Panthers are going to score 13, at most 17 points in this game. And there you go. You've more than covered in this one. So I like Miami Dolphins. Not the most exciting game in the world, but I think it's pretty straightforward.
This is a bad spot for Carolina, man. Chuba Hubbard ruled out with the calf injury. I mean, that was the straw that stirs the drink in Carolina, and that's a big hole to fill. I mean, Rico Dowdle's okay, I suppose, but coming off a big win in their building, getting their first W, Darren Waller finally plays. This is what they brought him here for, and he shows out. Sometimes less is more, man. Losing Tyreek's not that big of a deal to this team. It's not like he was going crazy before he got hurt, guys. I mean, one of the best decisions the Kansas City Chiefs front office ever made was letting him walk. So this could bring this team together. They go into the right stadium versus the right team, ripe to get their second W. I think Tua plays well here. I think Devon Achane will be unguardable in this game out of the backfield and between the tackles. I think the Miami Dolphins can easily win and cover this game. Carolina's not good. I haven't seen the Bryce Young I saw last year in the last 3 or 4 games. I haven't seen that Bryce Young yet. And let's be honest, man, Tetairoa McMillan has not, wowed me at all. I think this is the week he gets his first tutty. I mean, this is anytime touchdown for Tetairoa McMillan week. If this doesn't hit this week, I'd be kind of in, distress as a Carolina Panther fan. I mean, I don't think you can win this game, but you want to see some hope and some promise from some of your young, inspiring, newly drafted players. I need to see Bryce Young have a good game here, and I don't expect to. The better team is Miami, coming off a win. They're feeling good. I think they're going to win this game with ease, honestly, man. Carolina has had that one good game versus Atlanta, and they shut them out because Michael Penix just played so poorly. I don't think Tua will play as poorly here. And 1.5 is nothing to cover. Field goal wins your money. Mike McDaniels, has been told that they're not looking to replace him. So that moniker of confidence might push them into actually winning a couple games here. I think this is one of them. Take the Dolphins with confidence, -1.5.
All right, let's go to the first afternoon game. It's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They are traveling to Seattle. The Seattle Seahawks are -3.5. And you know what? The Buccaneers are very banged up, so it's a bit of a hard game to call, but man, the Seahawks just do not look impressive at times. It looks like they want these games to be really close. I always talk about that that Saints game, it was just like, I don't even know. I don't want to call it an outlier, but boy, when I watched the Seattle Seahawks play against the Arizona Cardinals, they wanted the Cardinals to win that game. Like they were begging them to, like at every juncture, and they just let them hang around.
Cardinals should have won the game.
And you got Ibuka, you got, Chris Godwin back. I know Kalijah Cansey's out for the season, and I think they lost an offensive lineman too for the Bucks. And Mike Evans is obviously out too. But I could easily see this being a field goal game. The Seahawks are they'll like do things out of principle. Like, Zach Charbonnet, in my opinion, he runs with cement on his feet. And you have Kenneth Walker, who's like the super just prolific kind of runner on your team who has these big 20-yard runs. And then you won't see him for like 5 plays. And it's like, is Zach Charbonnet like prime LaDainian Tomlinson or something like that? Am I missing something? Like this guy isn't anything special. Give the ball to Kenneth Walker. Like they'll punish you if you make one bad play. It's like, dude, just win the football game, please. And so I think the Buccaneers could win this game. They had a pretty decent game against the Eagles. Special teams kind of buried them 2 weeks in a row. Another horrible special teams unit, by the way, just like the Raiders. The Buccaneers have had 2 games ruined because of special teams, block punts, block field goals. We'll see. I mean, I don't know if that'll continue. That's such a weird thing to bet on. That's what makes these games so hard to call, because it's like, I don't want to bet on a special teams block touchdown. It's so dumb because it happens so rarely. It just seems to be happening more this year. I'm going to take the Buccaneers here. I think Ibuka and Godwin are going to make a pretty monster pairing. And when Mike Evans comes back, my goodness, they're going to be scoring a bunch of points. So I just don't love the Seahawks, and I do like the Buccaneers. I'm going to take the Buccaneers plus 3.5. I like that.
A lot of people are gonna like that because Baker's piss and vinegar, and they coming off a loss, man, and they're gonna be fired up. I'm gonna take the Seattle Seahawks here. Shout out my man Keelan, who's a big Seahawks fan and tells me that all I do is piss on them, and it's true because I don't believe in them. But this is the type of game where everyone's going to be on the Bucs, man. Everybody is going to be on the Buccaneers. How are the Buccaneers getting 3.5 points from a bum-ass Seahawks team? I'm telling you, man. After what I witnessed them doing versus the Saints in that building, the game was over before, I don't know, the first 10 minutes. Now, I'm not saying the Bucs are the Saints. I'm not saying that. But the Bucs got some real problems, okay? Problem number 1. The straw that stirs the drink, and Bucky Irving is out. That he sets the tone for everything, man. For everything. He's out. Mike Evans, wide receiver 1, also out. Big problem. Now, we know Ibuka is God, but this is a tough ask, man. To fly across the country with a banged-up Baker. Also, Baker's got the bicep problem. He's banged up. He's a gamer. He'll be there. But you're asking them to do a lot with a little, man. I'm not a big believer in Rachaad White or Sean Tucker. If those guys were any good, they'd be starting over Bucky. Bucky is an undersized running back, and neither one of those guys is better than him. And so I know Devin Witherspoon is out. He hasn't played since week 1. That's a huge void to fill. But the Seahawks defense and running game will do enough in this game, and I think they're going to cover this 3.5. I think this is where you start to see a little bumps in the road for the Bucs. I told you last week that the Eagles are going to go in there and handle their business, and that's exactly what happened. They've just got too many problems, man. Chris Godwin coming off a major injury. It's going to take him some time to get ramped up. I mean, don't get me wrong, man. They're going to go down swinging because that's what the Bucs do. They are going to be throwing haymakers with the best of them. But I think this is a tough spot to ask them to win in, minus Bucky Irving. So I'm going to take the Seattle Seahawks for the first time this year, minus the 3.5. I think they're going to win this game. Outside of Witherspoon, they're fairly healthy, man. JSN is a dog. If he just protects Sam Darnold and he doesn't make any dumb mistakes, and the running game is going to be there. I mean, you don't like Zach Charbonnet. I think Zach Charbonnet is a unit. I think he is a unit, man. I like him a lot. And KW3 so far has been healthy. I don't see why they can't win this game going away, and so I'm picking them to do so. I do not trust the Bucks banged up on the road like this. Seahawks minus 3.5 is the play.
All right, let's switch over. This is the Tennessee Titans. They're visiting the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals are minus 7.5. And we've already talked about this, but in my opinion, this is the most disappointing team of the seasons. Not of the season, but last week's performance, the Tennessee Titans to get a goose egg. It was shocking to me. And they actually talked about it after the game. The Texans were like noting that the Titans gave up before the kickoff. And they said they could see them as they're warming up. They said it was over before the game, literally over before the game started. And I think it's over. I think the locker room's been lost. And I think that's all you need to know about the Tennessee Titans. Obviously their season's over. Everyone knows that. But when you give up on a coach, everything else is just a formality. And I don't like the Arizona Cardinals that much. I mean, they also are one of those teams that just beg the other team to like win the game or get back in it, and they want to let them do that. There's no way I'm betting on the Tennessee Titans unless the line is like plus 24.5 or something stupid like that. Only a touchdown. The Arizona Cardinals can't win this game by 10. The Titans can't score. They literally can. I mean, last week they literally couldn't. But other than that, even go back to the Denver Broncos game, they cannot get to the other end of the field, and it's just been a disaster for them. The Cardinals' offense has been getting better. Kyler Murray stinks, but the Tennessee Titans stink even more. I mean, they are falling apart at the seams. This might be I don't think they can do a mid-season firing because, like, you can't do that to a rookie. You're already trying to ruin your first overall pick. He'll make it to the end of the season. It won't go much further than that, in my opinion. It'll probably be like first day of the offseason type of thing, and they're going to try to just hope they didn't ruin Cam Ward's career right off the bat, which could easily happen because he was such a boomer bust prospect where it needed to be right for him, and it obviously just has not been. And so give me the Arizona Cardinals, and I feel pretty good about this game.
I don't. Kyler Murray sucks. We need to have this conversation before we continue. I mean, we bang on Trevor Lawrence and a couple other quarterbacks. We bang on Tua. We bang on a lot of guys who have gotten big contracts who, in my mind, aren't deserving of these contracts. To me, Kyler Murray's one of these guys, dude. He's just a guy. Does anyone think that the Arizona Cardinals are ever going to win a playoff game with Kyler Murray? I don't. So let me ask you all this question. Why is he getting paid so much money? To do dumb stuff. To run around like an infant that just stole like something out of the fridge. Like, I don't get it, right? And let's not act like their entire running back room is not decimated. I mean, I had high hopes for Trey Benson. He's now on IR. I mean, Amari DiMercado and Michael Carter. Michael Carter, these are the guys that you hope are going to be running the football for you? Okay, so MHJ had a decent game. But let's not act like he has done anything for weeks. And Trey McBride is undervalued and underused. They don't use the guy right, and they can't get him in the box. Trey McBride's had 5 total touchdowns his entire career, and one of them was this year. I call that anytime touchdown as well. So the whole world is going to be on the Arizona Cardinals here. The whole world. The Titans are terrible. They've quit before the game started. No one believes in the Titans. 7.5 is coverable. I'm going to take them. I'm going to take the Titans plus a 7.5 on the road. What have you got to lose here? Okay? The Arizona Cardinals have lost games back-to-back weeks that they should have won. Where's the confidence that you're instilling in this game coming from? Cam Ward is not as bad as everyone thinks he is. He's just got no help. It's really just that simple. His wide receivers are hurt. Calvin Ridley's been an unmitigated disaster. He's out. But I like the emergence of Tajay Spears. Should be brought back in this game. He's had a good week of practice. Tony Pollard has been underwhelming. Give me a special teams touchdown somehow. And they cover. I mean, I just don't like the Cardinals, man. I bet them repeatedly. Well, they did win the game for me in San Francisco. They covered when I needed them to. but it's not like they're beating up on good competition at all. And they don't have
They've
good
had the softest schedule in the
and
league.
they don't have good coaching either, man. They don't have good coaching. So, and I don't like Kyler Murray, man. Trey McBride with a decent quarterback is Travis Kelce. They don't have good coaching at all. You can't scheme this guy open better than you're doing. 5 balls for 45 yards? Like, what? This guy's a stud. What are you doing? I'm not feeling them, man. I'm going to take a chance on the Titans. They can't be this bad, can they? Even if they are, man. To me, it's a chance I'm worth taking because the whole world is going to take Arizona. And this is the type of win or cover for the Titans that literally keep the lights on at every sports book in Las Vegas. The whole world will take a bath in it because I don't believe in Kyler Murray. And the Titans have a decent defense, man. Let's not forget. Jeffrey Simmons is there. They got decent players, man. Take the Titans plus 7.5. One of these games, guys, they're gonna score 10 points. And that's all you might need them to do here. Seriously.
That's crazy. All right, let's go to the Washington Commanders. They're visiting the Los Angeles Chargers. It's a bit of a weird line in this one. It's the Chargers are minus 2.5. This is ugly. This is very ugly. The Washington Commanders can't pass rush to save their life, and the Chargers cannot protect Justin Herbert to save their life. They've had so many injuries on the offensive line. It's like crumbling in front of them. Now, to be fair, they did play a very good defensive front in the Giants, and so that's not going to help you. And so Justin Herbert should have a lot more room, but I believe Jaden Daniels is coming back for this game.
He is.
This is going to be a really interesting one. It almost feels like it should have been the Sunday night game, but you know what? I'm going to take the Washington Commanders. I don't love it. I just think that the Chargers are in trouble, man. Offensive line is so important, and they don't have one right now. They're just too banged up at that position. If the Commanders can get any pass rush at all in this game, they'll win. And I think there's just going to be a little extra juice with Jaden Daniels being back. I think he's healthy. Like, I think they really took their time to get him going back into the game. And, I think things are just going to be set up for him to have a nice, maybe 20-point performance or something like that. The Commanders need this one so badly too. I think the little extra juice, and maybe even they lose, but this could be one of those like 2-point games where something weird happens. I just want to take the points in a game where these two teams seem kind of evenly stacked at the current moment. I'll take the points and hope that something weird happens. This could easily be like a missed extra point or something, like something stupid like that, or they end up covering. It feels like one of those games. I don't love it. It's not one of my favorite games. I'm not going to put out any of my tickets because it's just a close matchup, and I don't typically like to call these kinds of games, but I'll take the Commanders just because I think they'll have a little bit more excitement, and it's not like playing in LA is anything special. It's not like that hard to do. So I'll take the Commanders in this one.
I'm going to take the Chargers minus the 2.5 at home, coming off a loss in the Meadowlands at MetLife Stadium. Yeah, they have had some major line issues, losing Rashawn Slater before the season, and now Joe Alt. The timeline hasn't even been set for Joe Alt, which is not a good sign. By now, you would have heard, out high ankle sprain 2 to 4. You know what I mean? Like, you haven't even heard anything. So I think it could be worse than expected, which I hate injuries, man, but I got no love for the Chargers at the same time. You hate to see a guy go down like that because they are having a good season. I do think that they get right here, man. They're home. They have the better defense. And, during the week, a experienced veteran head coach like, Harbaugh will find a way to put in some new protection packages in place to keep Justin Herbert upright. You might see Herbie run a little bit more here just because he might have to, but the better defense wins games. Jaden Daniels has not looked to me like the Jaden Daniels of last season. He is playing with a brace on that knee, so he's not 100% healthy by any stretch. They're flying across the country. No Terry McLaurin, and none of those running backs scare me. Bill Merritt is supposed to scare me. Jerry McNichols is supposed to scare me. Like, Austin Eckler is gone. Chris Rodriguez is supposed to scare me. None of those guys scare me. They're home run hitters that if one guy misses a tackle, can take it to the house, but none of those guys are grinders. Most of them are just third down pull and pray backs. That's not going to get it done versus Derwin James and this Chargers defense. I feel very good about them finally getting Ladd McConkey back into the fold. He has had a miserable season because they really don't even need him. Okay, Keenan Allen has found a fountain of youth. Quentin Johnson can now catch. I mean, they have much better players, albeit injured on their side of the football, than the Washington Commanders. This should be a resounding Charger W. Why? Because they know that Denver is going to keep pace with them. Why? Because they know that the Chiefs are not going quietly. And all this talk about wrap it up for the LA Chargers to win this division is now in question. It's in question. This is not a game they can afford to lose by any stretch. They have the better head coach. Yeah, it's not a true home field, but let's not act like Charger fans will not be there in droves and Commander fans are not flying across the country to watch this game. This is my best bet, and I feel very good about it. LA minus 2.5, and I'm saying it with my chest.
All right, let's go to the last afternoon game. It's the Detroit Lions. They're traveling to Cincinnati to play the Bengals. The Detroit Lions are minus 9.5. That's fine with me. I mean, I need to see the Bengals do something, like literally anything, before I ever take them for any points. I mean, the Detroit Lions, we all know, can score 35 points a game now. I mean, they've caught their stride officially. And so you're telling me that the Bengals, who seem to give up a gorzillion points every week, are now going to have a nice defensive game against one of the most prolific offenses in the National Football League? And can the Bengals score 10 points in this game? I don't know. I mean, I know the Lions don't have the best defense in the world, but I don't know. Until the Bengals do something, I'm just going to keep betting against them, and I think I'm going to be right more than I'm wrong when it comes to that. So, yeah, give me the Detroit Lions minus 9.5. This feels like a pretty straightforward game to me.
And it should be a pretty straightforward game across the board when you consider how the Lions have played the last couple weeks. They go into Baltimore, pick them apart. You know, the Cincinnati Bengals can't get out of their own way. They looked absolutely horrendous on Monday night versus a better and more dominant defensively led team. But this is why styles make fights, and they're very similar teams. Okay, Detroit's got the better defense, and I'm willing to give them that, and they are surging, and the Bengals can't get out of their own way. But the Bengals are home, and let's not act like Browning last year did not have a decent amount of success as a backup. They played well with him, and I just think they've ran into some of the wrong teams, and it's a slower start for them. And yes, everything is working against them. Short week, everything's working against them. But you cannot tell me that Chase Brown is this bad. You cannot tell me that Jamar Chase and T. Higgins cannot cover 9.5 at home. I know they're bad, okay? But they're a bad team with good players in their building. Guys, this cannot continue for the Bengals. It just can't. I think they cover the 9.5 simply because, one, the whole world thinks that the Lions are going to go in there and annihilate them. This is another one of those bets where the whole world is going to be on the Lions. I'm just like, you know what, man? Home dogs pay dividends more times than not. And if Browning can get any kind of rhythm going here, if they could just run the ball a little bit, that's the problem. They haven't been able to run the ball. Chase Brown and Ladd McConkey have been the two biggest disappointments this year in the NFL. If either of these guys can get it going, it's going to really take their team to another level because you know what Jamar Chase and T. Higgins can do. And they got a decent couple tight ends there that can mix it up. And if Browning is willing to run a little bit, they're going to backdoor this game. I don't think they can win it at all. But let's not act like Trey Hendrickson is not still there. And let's not act like if you throw the kitchen sink at Goff, he doesn't throw picks. Goff can be white Geno Smith. We've seen it. I've seen games where Goff has thrown 5 picks. I think this is a game no one thinks that the Cincinnati Bengals can win. Nobody. I think they can cover 9.5. Guys, 9.5 is disrespectful. That is basically telling us that you are a hot, steaming pile of the worst kind of sewage there is. And at some point, you have to play for pride and take it personal, man. Bengals fans show up in their building. I think they're going to cover the 9.5, and I will be the guy on earth outside of Cincinnati that thinks so. 9.5 is too much. Detroit has been known to have these games where they underperform. You've seen it before. Let's not act like we haven't seen this out of the Detroit Lions. They're surging, and then all of a sudden, they're nowhere to be found. It happens. Give me the Bengals plus 9.5, and I'll be the only person in the world doing so. I'm fine with it. You have to sometimes take chances like this to win some of these games. And a lot of these wins I've been having in the last couple of weeks, guys, have been just like this.
Let's go to the New England Patriots for Sunday Night Football. They're playing the Buffalo Bills. The Bills are minus 8.5. That seems just too big to me. I think the New England Patriots have been playing decent football. I don't know if they can win. I don't think it's an impossible long shot that they'll win this game. They look like a well put together football team. The football team that I think a lot of us thought that they would be this year. Disciplined, doing a little bit of everything. I think they can do that in this one. Bills played a tough game against the Saints last week at home.
They had to sweat to win that game, dude. There was an opportunity for the Saints to win that game, which is ridiculous.
It came down to a turnover, at the end there. I think the New England Patriots can play up to them. I think this is a big Mike Vrabel game. He's going to be pumped for this. This is why they brought him in. So plus 8.5. I love this on a tease too, where you just get an extra 6 points for the Patriots. I love it. I mean, I guess the Buffalo Bills can blow out anybody at any time because they're just that good. But I don't know. I need to see a more like marquee defensive game for them because I think the Patriots are going to be able to score in this one. Again, they're a couple plays off from being like 3-1, right? I mean, they fumbled at the 1-inch yard line twice against the Steelers. They had that game. They've been playing really well,
dude.
And so, I think they're going to be competitive in this game. I like plus 8.5 for Sunday Night Football.
So do I, man. Under the lights, guys, play harder. You're the only game in town, man. People in China are watching you. You know what I mean? And Drake May is a bona fide stud, man. I told you, May is going to be a great quarterback in this league. The problem with the New England Patriots is that they play sloppy football. They put the ball on the ground at the most inopportune times, and they're still a little too vanilla. That OC has to open this up, man. Okay, you got a bunch of little rats running around out there, and Douglas and Booty and even Diggs, man, showed his face last week, and I thought he was washed. Hunter Henry is as the most slept-on tight end in the history of the NFL. Is Hunter Henry, man. All this guy does is score touchdowns for this team. If Ramondre Stevenson can just stop putting the ball on the ground, this team will cover the 8.5. This, to me, could be the Travion Henderson breakout game. If Mike Vrabel would just give the kid the ball. All we ask for week after week after week after week after week is to give Travion Henderson a chance. Give this kid a chance to show the NFL why you picked him. I know he's in the doghouse for some miscues a couple weeks ago, but he deserves more than like 5 touches, man. And I think that in order to stay in this game, they're going to have to let their best players play. The Buffalo Bills can ether anyone at any time. But let's not act like their defense is full of world beaters. The defense is good. It's not great. They have opportunistic players. A lot of them are banged up. Matt Milano, I'm not sure if he's 100%. Teron Johnson, AJ Epinesa. These guys are all really good, man, but they're not dominant. There was a moment last week where, like, you're looking at the game, you're like, wow, the Saints are going to cover this game. Wow, the Saints could win this game. That is absolutely egregious for being the Highmark Stadium farewell tour. You should have beaten that team by 3 tutties. And so now this week, a better team comes in, a better defense that can score a little bit more than they have been in the last couple of years, and it's under the lights. A lot of people are thinking that this is a division game and it'll be super close because they usually are. And that's where my mind is heading to. 8.5 is just too much, man. The Stephon Diggs revenge game the narrative is in play. We got a lot of things going here on the Patriots side. I've taken the Bills to ether teams a number of different times this year, and they haven't covered for me. So I'm going to pull and pray on the Patriots. I think there's a world where the Patriots could win this game. I do. Let anything bad happen to James Cook, man, and Bills are in trouble. I mean, I know Ray Davis is supposed to be really good, but the straw that stirs the drink is James Cook, man. He is a good running back. I have not given him his full props. I've been kind of pissing on him because he was demanding Saquon money, which he wasn't worth, and so he gets 12-5 instead of 15. He's a good player, man. He is a good player. But anything happens to that kid, they don't really have a number one wide receiver. Josh Allen will have to be Superman, like he has been and can be, but I like the Pats here plus 8.5, and I'm going to take them with confidence.
Let's hop over to Monday Night Football. The Kansas City Chiefs are traveling to Jacksonville to play the Jaguars. Chiefs are minus 3.5. I love that. It's my best bet. I think the Jaguars are fool's gold. I'm saying this every week, and I ain't stopping. I think Trevor Lawrence stinks.
He stinks,
garbage.
Man. He's horrible, bro.
He has been bailed out many times this season, and the one loss they had was his fault against the Bengals, where Jake Browning had like 3 interceptions.
They were begging you to lose the game.
He needed to do anything in that game, and I know Brian Thomas had 1 drop, but that is not indicative of that full game.
Yeah. They've all played poorly. That record is fool's gold for sure.
And Travis Hunter has not really been that good on either side of the ball. If we're being honest with ourselves, I mean, he's hasn't been invisible, but he's not what they wanted him to be. He's not making huge impact plays on either side. And so we'll see how that evolves. But I mean, the Chiefs scored a bunch of points last week. Are the Jacksonville Jaguars just going to suffocate the Chiefs? Chiefs have a lot of momentum right now. And I think they're going to be making a run here. And if they're on a run, are the Jacksonville Jaguars going to stop them in their tracks? I just can't see it happening. I really, truly doubt it. So, yeah, I love the Kansas City Chiefs minus 3.5. Like I said, it's my best bet.
This is going to be my second victory lap. I told all of you guys last week, all y'all were in my TikTok comments trying to roast me. Dude, I told you guys. I smell this coming from a mile away. I know that the dynasty is ending. I'm a sane Chiefs fan. Okay, this cannot go on forever. Travis Kelce is old as Joe Biden. There's a lot of things that are working against Kansas City. The Rice suspension, the Worthy shoulder, a bunch of bad things are happening. But the bottom line is, if the Chiefs got that game versus the Ravens, they're off and running, man. And all of a sudden now, everybody that was shoveling dirt on this team is now trying to backtrack. All over social media, all over the outlets. Guys, Andy Reid versus Liam Cohen. That's all you need to know about this game. Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes under the lights when they're the only game in town, when people in Shanghai are watching them. That's all you need to know about this game. Yes, the Chiefs' running game is not great, but it'll be good enough. Trevor Lawrence is a horrible quarterback, okay? How is Trevor Lawrence making $55 million a year? The Jacksonville Jaguars should have never let go of Mac Jones. Mac Jones is a better starter right now than Trevor Lawrence is. He might be a better quarterback than Trevor Lawrence, all things considered. I mean, you've seen what Mac Jones has done the last couple of weeks in the absence of Brock Purdy. Trevor Lawrence is buns, okay? The Chiefs' defense is really coming on strong. They went after Lamar. They put Lamar in a blender last week. The emergence of a guy named Noel Williams, cornerback, rookie. Go look at this
UNLV.
Look at this kid's tape. This kid's the next great cornerback for Kansas City. Him on one side. If they ever get Christian Fulton back, they'll be okay. Not that he's a world beater, but you got some depth there. And you already know about number 22. The Chiefs' defense is going to be just fine. The offense is going to be just fine. You saw what happened when they put Worthy back on the field. It changed everything. Everything. And they're going to win this game going away, no problem, because Jags aren't good, guys. They're fool's gold. Go look at the games that the Jags have played, how they've won them, and who they've won them against. They're not beating Kansas City Chiefs on Monday Night Football. I'm sorry, and I feel very strongly about this. And if the Chiefs can get past the Lions next week at home, they're going to beat the Raiders, and then they get Rashee Rice back, and they're back in the hunt. Guys, now is the time to put money on the Chiefs winning the division. Now's the time, because you're going to get the best odds you're going to get, because everyone's trying to bury them. Now y'all want to backtrack. Patrick Mahomes is going to be the MVP this year if this continues. If what's happening right now, the way he's playing, continues, Patrick Mahomes will be the MVP. because he's doing more with less, and the Chiefs are going to win enough games that they could give it to him. And a lot of people don't think he is as good as everyone thinks he is. I'm telling you, you have seen the metamorphosis of Patrick Mahomes do this so many different ways. 50 touchdowns, dink and dunk. And they just still win. They are well coached. They have a great president, owner, and GM. And everyone wants to call me a glazer. But here's the thing, you guys. If this was your team and this was your quarterback, you would be glazing too. So stop fronting and acting like it's some big deal that someone loves their quarterback. It sounds to me more like hate that your quarterback sucks. The Chiefs are about to take off here. The Jacksonville Jaguars are not good. And I could see a world where Trevor Lawrence throws 2 picks in this game, 1 gets returned, and he costs this team a win. Chiefs play the run well, and the better coach is Andy Reid. Like I said, go look at Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid under the lights when they're the only game on TV. Take the Super Bowls out of it, obviously. They got blown out of both of those. But the rest of the time, regular season, they are house money. Travis Hunter hasn't done anything. Brian Thomas has been underwhelming, and it's all because of Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence literally is the weakest link on that team, and they don't even like the guy. I'm pretty sure that team can't stand Trevor Lawrence. Go look last year where that dude, that safety from the Houston Texans, laid him out. Dude, no one came to his defense. He was just laying on the field dead, and everyone's looking at him. That's a bad sign, man. And quietly, I believe that if they could get rid of Trevor Lawrence, if they could get out of that contract, they would. Nobody can talk me off this. Trevor Lawrence is a bum, and I have protected him too long enough. Get that guy out of there. Chiefs minus 3.5 is also my second best bet, and I think they roll here with ease. Let them start scoring points again, guys, and the Chiefs are going to be tough to beat. That's the slate.
Right.
Good week, Spencer. I love talking football with you, man. To this point, through 5 weeks, I am 32-27 against the spread. Spencer is 26-33. He's had a couple bad weeks in a row. At worst, you're breaking even with us. Like we said, we do this for fun. We don't want to see you guys lose your livelihood, lose your homes. Don't lose your wife over this, guys. You know what I mean? This is for fun. But if you are looking to make a couple dollars, we're here to help because that's why we do the show. Any parting shots, Spence?
Yeah, I love my anytime touchdown tickets. I have Amon-Ra St. Brown and Amari in Hampton, a little 2-teamer or whatever you want to call it, 2-leg anytime touchdown. And for my teaser, Kansas City Chiefs, that'll be plus 2.5. You can buy the extra point if you want. And I like the Miami Dolphins on the tease, and I like teasing the over in the Dallas Cowboys New York Jets game, which would put you at 42.5. I think there's going to be a lot of points in that game.
My 3-team teaser is going to be Jalen Waddle, anytime touchdown. I like George Pickens, anytime touchdown. And I like Trevor Lawrence to throw an interception. Yeah. That's the show, guys. Enjoy it. Enjoy Sunday. Relax. Eat pizza. Eat wings. Eat bad food. And remember, the season goes fast. So every single week that you miss is time that you're never going to get back. On behalf of World of Matchups, my name is Dexter Reed. That's Spencer Lewis. And we are Ghost.
See you guys.